Okay.
Oh, well.
All right, we're recording. Are we live too, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, everybody. We're having a little, as Amanda said, Mercury retrograde uh tea time here. So wait a minute, who am I missing here? Let's see.
We're trying to get a few more of our reps into the room. They somehow did not receive the invite this morning, so that I can slink away into the dark. Yeah.
Okay. I think I got everybody now. All right. There we go. Okay. So yeah. I trying to even think what's going on. Okay, here comes Tom Benton. Okay. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. And because I hate when I'm starting to watch something and everybody's like delaying and they're not talking and they're not like saying what's going on. So it's just like, but 'tis the season. Yay, Tom. Thanks for texting. You hear it? Yeah, me too. We're having a little technical difficulties. I hate the technical difficulties. They drive me crazy.
I thought maybe I'd been banned.
I think, okay, that's what I'm afraid of when people don't get it, that they think that it's just like, you're off the island.
Come on, Tom. You are like, in the inner sanctum. I don't think you
I
need
thought
to worry
so.
about that.
I did think so, Andrea, but then suddenly, Julie.
Hey, you could never predict.
Exactly.
Well, that is true, but we don't want to get on your bad side, Jules.
I've heard that about myself.
So Stella, my daughter, this weekend we were down in San Diego.
Awesome.
And she works at a restaurant there that's connected to another restaurant. And she told me about a coworker who was banned from the restaurant she was working in because she got into a physical altercation.
Wow.
So they moved her to a different one of their restaurants. Anyway, that's why banning is on my mind.
Yeah, I'm not the physical kind of person. I'm more mental torture.
That's right.
I'm against book bans.
Yes. Now there's a ban we can all get behind.
Yes.
There you go.
Fighting the book bans.
Fighting the book bans. Yeah. Not doing it.
Not good for anybody.
I saw an interesting thing at I think our regionals are coming up for the industry regionals, and so the one in the Northeast has happened, I think. And they were talking about like how we can actually, as booksellers, go to school board meetings and have a voice at school board meetings. I didn't read the whole thing, but I want to read.
That's interesting.
I know. Because to fight the whole book ban thing. So kind of like, I think we want to maybe look into that a little bit more. All right. I am in just a reading slump. I haven't read anything that I've loved lately.
It happens.
I know. I'm in kind of a a slump right now.
Listen, as a rep, you have to read a lot of manuscripts. You have to read parts of manuscripts. And sometimes I've had some rough periods where I just had serious reader's block.
I feel like it's like, I always say it's like you have to read a lot of frogs to get the prince. So
yeah,
I'm in a lot of frog reading right now.
which will go unnamed and
I will not. No, I'm a firm believer, except for Tom, I will always, behind closed doors, I will tell my true feelings.
Yes, of course.
But I am a firm believer that we're here as booksellers and we're not here as book critics.
Yes.
And so if it's something that I don't like, I will just not talk about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, reps have to do that too. It's like, hey, listen, taste is subjective.
Correct.
No, we do not with all due respect to all of our publishers, we do not love every book that our publishers publish, but that doesn't mean that somebody else is not going to hold it to their breast.
I love it.
They're going down, know? So
yeah. And so there's a very clear thing in that what we are called as booksellers. And so while I sometimes think that it's, if you come and talk to me personally and I'll have like a personal conversation with you, I might go, this one didn't really do it for me or whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, as I'm doing something else, but that's again, a very personal, subjective feeling about a book.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and
Anyways.
that's what's so great about variation.
Right.
And a non-book ban world of
Correct.
That's right. That's
of
right.
of
1000%.
biblio love.
1000%.
And our editors, they have fallen in love with this book, even if I haven't fallen in love with it,
Right.
they have. So
Correct.
there are
They saw
readers.
something. Right. And let me tell you, editors are way smarter than I am. Just saying. So, Amanda, are you going to talk about books today?
I think I might leave it to the experts.
Are you
Well,
sure?
come on, you're an expert. You're a reader.
You can say on the
Seems like
screen.
you
I was
might
just
have a
wondering.
book or two
You can
you
say
wanna
on the
talk
screen. I was
about.
just wondering if you
You're
were going
a
to be in the
professional
rotation.
bookseller. I would say that that's an expert.
Well, I'm going to go with.
I'll stay on screen.
Okay. I'll go Andrea and Tom, and then if you feel like you want to chime in, Amanda, just send me a little note and say,
Thank
I want
you.
to talk about this.
And
All right,
and before we start, Kim says it's her summer of chonky books, and Kim has read and enjoyed The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman,
Oh, yeah.
God of the
Wow.
Woods by Liz
Oh.
Moore, and The Blackbird Oracle by Deborah Harkness.
Oh, what a list. That's amazing.
Big chonky epics.
Yes.
They are. Those are all big ones.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Okay. All right, Andrea, take it away.
I see that there's some new sharing options on Zoom where you can like put your face near like your screen, but I'm not going to do that.
I saw your face do something different a second ago. Maybe
Yeah,
too, and I was
I
like,
was just checking it out, and I was like,
What's she
no.
doing?
They're already like tired of my mug, and I have been having, as I was telling Julie and Amanda earlier, I haven't like had my hair professionally cut since before, or like, since the lockdown period. And so I'm having a bad hair millennia, basically, especially since the lockdown period. So, I don't need it like front and center, like my mug. Let's talk about France instead of my hair cutting situation. In France Profound, the long history of a house, a mountain town, and a people. This is by T.D. Allman, who was a National Book Award long-listed author for Finding Florida. He died this year, unfortunately. God rest him. He had a long list of travelogue and journalistic bylines in all of the great magazines and newspapers in this country and abroad. And this is a sweeping chronicle of his life and discoveries in a house in Southwest France. That it's almost as old as the French town where the house is set on the outskirts of town, La Zerte. So he talks about acquiring the house, the nearby prehistoric caves, the medieval dynastic struggles of the people in the area, and then moves all the way through to the colorful characters found in the town today, as well as just dealing with the house, right? Excavating and maintaining the wine cave in the cellar, which is very cool, as well as fighting off. He had a long struggle trying to fight off the pigeons on the roof, which he did not win. I know none of you are like surprised about that, because they are tenacious creatures. But it's just a really wonderful book for any Francophile. If you're a Francophile or anyone in your life is a Francophile, this is the book for them. Look at the cover, it looks great. Let's see, and it got like, rave reviews from everybody, and a lot of starred reviews from all of the trade magazines, like Kirkus Review, who else? I can't think who else. Let me see, where's my notes? I think anyway, there was a couple of starred reviews, which is nice.
Publishers Weekly.
Yeah, Publishers
Library
Weekly,
Library
yeah, Publishers Weekly, and there was another one too, but I'm not sure. Anyway, listen to this. Okay. In France Profound, but I'm gonna read, like, this is from the Wall Street Journal, but these endorsements are great. In France Profound is a familiar tale of the foreigner in search of the good life abroad, but Eat, Pray, Love, this is not. There is little eating and no praying here, and even the love is leavened with rage when the English move in nearby. Adopting what French historians call la longue durée, the long view, Allman detects deep and enduring patterns in the fabric of everyday life. His perspectives are grand, the history deep, the narrative conversational and enthusiastic. Kirkus Review says, a mountain view of history in France. When journalist Allman bought an 800-year-old house in Lazette, a mountain village in southwestern France, he found himself steeped in the tumultuous history of the region, which he recounts with zesty enthusiasm in a combination of memoir, historical narrative, and travelogue, an engaging, richly detailed tale. That's great. That's from the Kirkus Review, Starved Review. And then Publishers Weekly raved about it. They called it sumptuous. So this is just, it's got a lot going for it. It's got like French history, the memoir aspects of it, detailing in raucous detail, the characters in the town, and then post-Brexit, the new British invasion, which he wasn't too happy about. So it's got a lot going in many different vectors. So I think there's something for everyone here.
And we're all kind of on the post-Olympic
Yes.
France sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
a little bit more of what's going on with France. I think this is a good little segue to keep your tastes going with. I think they did a great job with the Olympics. I think
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it seems like there's so many people that were engaged by it, and just sort of happy that everybody's like, hey, yes, we have national boundaries, we have differences, but we're here for the camaraderie and the strong competition. And I really enjoyed all the stories of like good sportsmanship in the main.
Right.
And that's great. Love
Yeah.
it.
And so I think that if you're wanting a little bit more about what's going on, a little more taste of France, this would be a good one for you.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the chat's going crazy here today. Dee, I'm glad you're safe, because I think that you had some scary stuff going on there. A tornado hit, I think, in our neighborhood. Yeah, so glad everything is good there. And Beth has been reading, so Dee's been reading chunky ones, or Kim has been reading chunky ones. Beth's been reading Clear, Sunburn, and she also loved God of the Woods too. And then who else has got some stuff going on here? Oh, somebody really enjoyed the bookshop. Lori enjoyed the bookshop from last week that we talked about. So yeah. So lots of keep the comments coming. It's always fun to read the comments. Sometimes I don't get a chance. Sometimes I don't multitask well. So excuse me if you put something in that I don't talk about.
I love to hear what people are reading and how.
I know,
much
me
they're
too.
reading.
Yeah, it's always fun to do that.
Well, and
And
back to the
apparently-
Olympics. I was going to say back to the Olympics. I feel like I suddenly feel LA, the pressure is on LA now.
Oh, 1000%. Well, first of
Whoa.
all, don't even try to do anything like that opening ceremonies, because that was off
Yeah.
the charts fantastic. And we don't have those iconic. I mean, I told my husband yesterday, because it's like the end of the marathon where that great building was at the behind, and he's like, oh, there's all these iconic places. It's like, well, we have a fake Coliseum in LA. So
It will play a role for sure.
yeah. So we can't even try to compete on that end of it. We just have to make sure that it's like, I was at the 84 Olympics. I went to the 84 Olympics.
Me too.
It was fun.
People rave about the 84 Olympics.
Yeah. And I don't recall it being trouble to get into I mean,
That's
so
what they say.
I think that
It was
that's going to
great.
be their challenge. If they try to get to like, I don't know. They just need to
Well, I mean, they just need Snoop Dogg to run all of the entertainment.
Yes.
Exactly.
And the guest lists. And
Okay.
we're fine.
Andrea, can you imagine making that statement in like the 90s.
They would have said, like, you're cray cray. What are you talking about? Like, you know,
Not have even been invited as an attendee, let alone a commentator.
no, he wouldn't have been allowed.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I
It is.
absolutely just love it. I love it so
I
much.
mean, him like walking around in his like, you know, his horse jog.
Oh, his dressage
Jogger,
outfit.
like, what is going on? Like, we
And-
live in a weird timeline.
And then he made it back to LA for the closing ceremonies and performed. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's amazing.
He is the star of the 2028 Olympics already.
Oh, no question. I love his Kim. I know I
Flavor
saw
Flav was like also like
He's
all
pretty
these
fun.
rap personalities. Flavor Flav had a lot of love for
Oh yeah, I saw
women's
that on Twitter.
sports too.
Yeah. I love this Kim. I saw the same thing. People were talking about comparing the Seine to the LA River.
Please don't.
I don't think that they can't even come close.
Let's focus on the Pacific Ocean, shall we?
Yeah, we'll go. Hopefully, we
We
get some
do
good
have that.
surfing. Get some good surfing out of the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, so, all right, Tom.
Okay.
We're here to talk
My
about books.
My
Okay.
first book is what I think is going to be one of our biggest books, certainly of the end of the summer, into the fall. It's called On the Edge by Nate Silver. So Nate Silver is the founder of 538, kind of the original poll aggregator for the New York Times that in I think it was probably 2008 when he put together all the polls. He's a stats guy. And it helped us feel for a time as if the polls would help us predict how things would turn out in elections. Maybe that for me, at least, speaking for myself, I don't feel quite as, easy about that as I did when we published the first book, The Signal and the Noise, which was in 2012. That was a big bestseller. So since then, Nate Silver has sold 538. I think he sold it to ABC, maybe. He's done a lot of things since then, including become a professional poker player and hanging out with crypto people and, people like Peter Thiel, Sam Bankman-Fried, Fried, right? Anyway, these kind of people who are the risk takers. So the book is helping us understand. He divides the world into two kind of categories. One are the villagers. I believe we're probably all villagers. We're not in the river. The people in the river are the risk takers in society that are always looking for the edge. There we have the title, On the Edge. So I think it's valuable to get a look inside their mindset because they are becoming increasingly powerful and terrifying. Even understanding them, they're still terrifying. This book is essentially for anyone. So it does all that. It tries to explain kind of where we are with these people, the people in the river. At the same time, if you want to come to it for risk-taking tips and gambling advice, he's got the 13 Habits of Highly Effective Gamblers. There's a lot on game theory in here. And the book just couldn't be published at a better time because he's mostly known to most of us as the poll guy, right? 538. So here we are in the middle of a terrifying election. Also, it might help you understand the risks that are ahead of us and how to assess them, how to feel on a day-to-day basis. So it's out tomorrow, I think. And the attention is just beginning. He's going to be interviewed everywhere. I guarantee it. The New York Times dropped their review today, and they say, engaging and entertaining, Silver describes how the decision-making methods of the professional gambler have spread to encompass a wide swath of human activities, from cryptocurrency investment to the pursuit of a more ethical life. Not sure about the more ethical life part. He offers readers an interview-driven tour of the parts of America where the outlooks and incomes depend on sophisticated forms of risk-taking. The result is a glimpse of the economy of the future. So I think this is kind of an important book. It's On the Edge by Nate Silver.
About 10 years ago, we hosted, I can't remember, I have to look it up because I always keep thinking about this, especially now with what's happening with some of these guys like that are in the river.
Mhm.
Back then it was, there was a term for it that was like super philanthropy or something like that. It was like the Bill
Oh,
Gates of the world that were like donating money to change public policy.
yeah, it was what Sam Bankman-Fried was involved with. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, there was a term for it. And I thought that was
Effective altruism,
Yeah.
right?
effective altruism, but there was also the book that he was talking about was like super philanthropy. It was like
Okay.
this like lots of like when Bill Gates like threw a bunch of money into and like changed, we did, you know, Common Core is I think a direct result of that. Now though, it seems much more nefarious what this big money is doing. And
They're
maybe it was
less interested
nefarious
in philanthropy for sure.
correct. And
More interested in consolidating power.
correct. And it's really, it's the shift is not, yeah, it's a little bit.
I don't
Anyways.
disagree. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Nate's over, but I wanted to read real quick. This one is from Dee, which I think is super interesting because she's pulled off her, she needed to change of pace from her heavy reading. So she pulled a book off of her list, which she realized was edited by Jenny Jackson. And prior to Tea Time, she would have had no idea
Oh,
who
I
Jenny
love that.
Jackson was.
That's so great.
Right? So it's like the
That's-
little tips that you get in the
That's so
insider of the
good.
industry of
Yeah, and
like,
it's also so refreshing to know that all of the Tea Time viewers clearly are not suffering from reader's block.
no,
They are like
Caught
going
up.
for it.
caught
Yeah,
up, which
great.
is so awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Andrea, what do you have next for us?
Oh shoot, I'm not even ready here. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I'm just dawdling. Okay.
You're having fun.
This is from Europa. You know, Europa does some serious hard-hitting nonfiction titles, usually one or two a season. And so this is and it's global in scope and you know, usually in translation. So and this is the spring, it's like the cusp between spring and fall here. A rebel in Gaza, a daughter of Rafa speaks, and this is by Asma Al-Ghul. And it's a firsthand and immediate account by Al-Ghul, who is a writer and a journalist, of the daily life in Gaza and of growing up as a young woman in Rafah, in the refugee camp there. The thing that I think is very powerful and a little bit different here is Al-Ghul talks about being subjected both to Israeli bombs and to Islamist tyranny in the face of prison, death threats, abuse, misogyny, violence, like, you know, perpetrated on both sides of the conflict. And so I think that's a valuable perspective to have, and you don't really often hear. We hear a lot from talking heads, you know, like you know, the experts on TV, politicians, but we don't hear about anybody on the ground who's actually living this and who feels like caught in the middle of it. So I think it's a valuable perspective, and because she's a writer and a journalist, this is a gripping narrative. It's very well written, and the translation is impeccable as usual. This is what Ben Ehrenreich said, and Ben is a writer and the son of Barbara Ehrenreich that many of you know from Nickel and Dimed, her classic from back in the day. So Ehrenreich says, "A Rebel in Gaza is a love letter to an unloved place, a sparkling memoir. Asma Al-Ghul, who was born in the Rafah refugee camp at the southern end of the Strip, writes with clarity and tenderness of Gaza's harsh realities. Despite it all, she insists, people continue to laugh in Gaza. Her own laughter bubbles through the pages of a rebel in Gaza, a stubborn, defiant joy in living, as keen as her rage or her grief. The world would be poor without Al Ghul's voice, without her warmth, her fury, and her laughter. So that's a really beautiful endorsement for this book. And this is going to get a lot of attention. Europa knows how to get, get reviews. And because of the subject matter, I think this will, have some off the book page publicity hits, as we say. So an important document. I am, very, I'm proud of Europa Editions for, seeking this out and publishing this very important document about what's going on today in the world. So there you go. And that's out on the 20th, but there's stock right now and you can buy it now at Warwick's, and it's $18 trade paperback.
And yeah, and just we need to support those authors.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's pretty harrowing, like, trying to write something like this at this time, while having to be on the move and worried about your safety and your loved one's safety. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and also, like, when you're critiquing Hamas, that's not easy either. Like, you're a target there.
Right. I was just going to say, it's putting her own life in jeopardy.
Mhm.
Doing that.
Yeah, a very one of the bravest chroniclers I've come across in a while, that's for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom.
All right. So keeping the theme of books that are necessary, that tell us things that we need to hear, whether we want to hear them or not. This is Bringing Ben Home by Barbara Bradley Haggerty. The subtitle is A Murder, a Conviction, and the Fight to Redeem American Justice. Well, fighting to redeem American justice, not an easy task. So here are the basic facts. So in 1987, Ben Spencer, 22-year-old black man in Dallas, convicted of murdering a white businessman, and a crime he, from the very beginning, said he did not commit. And there was, the usual, there was just a mess of shoddy police work, paid witnesses, prosecutorial misconduct, you name it. But he, the system kind of locks in and is not going to hear it, no matter what's presented to the system. So this was 1987, and he had various times had the possibility of getting out if he would admit that he did the crime. He simply was not willing to do that. He says, this is a quote from Ben, "Truth has always meant more than my freedom." So that was 1987. In 2021, he was released from prison, 34 years later. And so Barbara Bradley Haggerty was, she's a great reporter. She is used to work for NPR, and she did a lot of the combing police files and court records, interviewed dozens of witnesses. She did a lot of the work to help get Ben free. So she's telling that story. At the same time, she's telling a larger story of the system and how it's broken. So it's an amazing, important book that should get some ongoing. It'll get, it's getting attention is being paid. Reviews are incredible. And then this just came in later this month. The Texas District Attorney will make a ruling that could fully exonerate Ben Spencer, which means he would be cleared, compensated $2.7 million, and it would bring this 37-year ordeal to an official close. Who knows if that will actually happen? But the other fascinating and surprising thing that comes out of this book, she's talking about how states are trying to change the system so that it's more attentive to mistakes and criminal prosecutions, these types of things. And the state that is leading the way, according to Barbara Bradley Haggerty, is Texas. They've been making a lot of changes in this direction. So that's surprising to me, at least.
Super surprising.
I know. So go figure. But even that $2.7 million remedy, if it happens, this is 34 years of a man's life. So it's a powerful, amazing story. John Grisham, who's particularly interested in these stories, calls it simply unforgettable, and that's bringing Ben home.
Sounds amazing. And it is the whole, when you watch, I mean, I don't read a lot of books on the topic, but I watch that. That's one of the topics that I do watch on, shows or whatever, or documentaries or whatever. And they get locked in and they can't admit to making a mistake.
That's right.
Because it's all about, getting reelected and what your record is and all of this stuff. And it's just like, oof, the wrong things are being.
And being right.
Yeah.
You were, and yeah, always being right, never admitting anyone might have made a mistake.
Made a mistake.
Yeah.
It's just,
Horrifying.
it's, yeah, really horrifying.
Yeah. And that's nice that it snagged or snared, whatever you want to say, a Grisham
Yeah.
endorsement. I mean, because a lot of his books are based on these sorts of cases.
Yeah.
And that's he's very much a part of that Innocence Project. He's very involved in that. So
yeah, well, I mean, there's been so many injustices, and so it's nice to see that this story is being told.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely.
okay, Andrea, I think we're on whatchamacallit. What do I call this?
Lightning round. Yeah.
There you go. Somebody's got it. I don't have a brain today.
For something completely different, I wanted to talk about Blue Graffiti by Callahan Skogman. Some of you may know him. He's a beloved actor from the Shadow and Bone series on television. I do not know him from that, but I have checked out some author photographs, and he's very easy on the eye.
He's not a face for radio, he's a face for TV.
Yes, he's a face for billboards. Okay. And
all right, I got to Google now.
yeah, and but beyond that, the guy can write too, so that's always nice, not just a pretty face and a hunky bod. Okay, this guy is the real deal. And this comes to us from the unnamed press. That's a small indie press based out of Highland Park, where the 4.4 earthquake was today. I saw online that they said, whoops, sorry, dropped a big box of books. So apparently the offices weren't damaged and they're doing okay.
Just to interject, that earthquake shook. That was the biggest earthquake the feeling was the biggest I've felt maybe in my entire time in Los Angeles. It was
Really?
It was a violent shaking.
Yeah, well, so close to where you are.
And it was so close, yeah.
Yeah, back in 1980 and 81, there was like a 6.5 and a 6.7 up here in Bishop, California. And let me just tell you, that was the most horrifying and terrifying event,
I can imagine.
So scary, so scary. But yeah, so I don't like those things. Anyway, let's talk about this debut novel.
I'm still looking at his pictures. Never mind.
Yeah. He's, as a lifelong.
Is it sexist to say that? What's the opposite of misogyny when women do it?
I'm gonna Google him now too.
But he's also a really nice guy, from all accounts, from the publisher, which is awesome as well. So this is just a really beautiful heartfelt portrait of a small Wisconsin town. So he draws on his own experiences here, and you'll feel as like, what does Jodi Picoult say here? Is that how you say her name? I should know this. Jodi Picoult? Pico. This is terrible that I don't know that. I am so
That's
sorry.
okay.
You say Pico, I say You'll feel echoes of Kerouac and the Outsiders in this poetic debut novel about fathers and sons, of boys becoming men, of what it feels like to be caught between the helium of dreams and the ceiling of small town American reality. That's beautiful. So that, and I'm just going to leave it at that pretty much, but I do have to say that this has so much buzz. In March, before the book was even announced, And before I knew about it, because we hadn't been to sales conference, I was receiving like frenzied messages from people coming through, texts, email, smoke signal. Please send me a copy of this, an advanced copy. And I'm like, wow, there's something going on here. We basically have sold through before pub date, which is tomorrow. We basically sold through the first printing of this book. There's like quite a buzz out there in the indie book world. And, you know, we won't talk about any other of those places that other outlets you can get books, but yes, the buzz is happening there. There's a rather robust tour that will end up at Skylight Books, our friends at Skylight Books in like Southern California, a little north of you guys. And, you know, they're expecting huge crowds. So this book has taken the reading world by storm, and it's a $28 hardcover, unnamed press, and it's out tomorrow.
I love it. I love the cover.
Yeah, and it's just so nice to see that Little Unnamed Press is just growing and you know, just really doing some excellent work on their acquisitions, and I'll have more to talk about in the fall. They have a new classic series that I'm very excited about, and I'll be talking about those books too. So
Yeah,
Awesome.
they're doing a lot of great work.
they are.
And also it's encouraging. I just love seeing a young actor who cares enough about books and is talented enough to write a book. I mean,
Right.
he doesn't have to do that.
And is not afraid to, like, you know, go on the morning shows or wherever and talk about it. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a lot of things working for it, and Jodi Picoult likes it.
And we know how to say her name now.
Pico,
Confidently.
PKP.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I
Sorry,
love all
Jodi,
of
I'm
this.
so sorry that I didn't know how to say your
Well, I didn't know forever either. It's just because
It's
I've
not an
hosted
easy
her.
name.
It's not, and the only reason I know Andrea is because I've hosted her a few times, and like she's very Pico. I mean, she's very much like this is how you say it. So
yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm sorry. I apologize, Jodi, if you're watching or will watch or somebody on here like is watching and is going to tell us.
Let's hope Jody's watching.
let's hope Jody's watching. We
Yeah.
love her. So, all right, Tom, take us
Okay,
home.
so I have a comfort read to finish for my books. It
Oh
is
my
The
God, I love
Wisdom of
that.
Sheep. Isn't that great? Rosamund Young is the author of The Secret Life of Cows, which was a surprise hit for Penguin Press a few years ago. And she's back. And so Rosamund Young takes readers to Kite's Nest Farm, where she's worked as an organic farmer for over 40 years. And she's been in direct contact with these animals. And so it's a story of her day-to-day, but the discoveries she makes every day, the joy, the cooperation, all the feelings that the animals bring into her life. It's beautiful. Like, and that's the other thing. Not only is she this organic farmer, living this idyllic life, she can really write. So this is an easy, if you love animals, I mean, The Secret Life of Cows was fantastic. And there's just not enough books like this that are genuine and that, you know, she's the real deal. You know, she's not playing this role. She is this person. We have a great quote from our own Catherine May, who wrote Wintering, which is a comparable kind of comfort read. She says, elegiac, funny, warm, and wise, the wisdom of sheep will delight country folk and city dwellers alike. So there it is, Rosamund Young's The Wisdom of Sheep, out tomorrow, I think.
Why do I feel like this would be like Adrian's favorite book?
I was just about to say Adrian would love this.
Same. As I revisited this book today, I was like, yeah, this would be on the front counter at
This
work.
has got Adrian written all over it.
100%.
That was great too, you know.
Kim says Rosamund Young sounds like a modern day James Herriot. That makes sense.
I love that. Yeah.
That's good. That's nice. I think that needs to be on the front cover of the paperback.
That's a very
Yeah,
good
you're
book.
right. I'll see if we can get that added because it really that is exactly the kind of book this is and the audience we want to reach.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, well, see, there were some princes today.
I can talk
I'm
about
reading
one.
the- Oh, you got one to talk about?
Wait, what are
Okay.
you reading? What are you reading?
Oh no, I'm not telling you what I'm reading.
Oh,
Because I'm reading frogs right now.
Ah!
You all talked about the princes today. You all got the princes out of the way. You kissed enough of those frogs to get some princes. No, I'm not talking about what I'm reading.
Oh, really quick. This came out in July, Nicked by M.T. Anderson. This is not the final cover. But I loved this book and I want more people to be hearing about it. So it's the year 2087 and there's a plague. And a young monk has a dream in which he's visited by a saint. And his superiors decide they interpret his dream for him to mean that he needs to go off on an adventure with treasure hunters and steal the relics of a saint to bring back to the town to cure everybody. It's so funny. It's like a workplace comedy in a way. There's some romance and there's adventure, and it also reminded me of Lamb by Christopher Moore. And there's a quote on it. It's actually amazing blurbs. And M.T. Anderson, by the way, I knew him as a young adult writer. He wrote a book called Feed way back in the day. That is a huge book. But this is an adult book. George Saunders, author of Lincoln in the Bardo, said, M.T. Anderson is a once-in-a-generation perfect storm of wit, ethical zing, and sheer linguistic power. And on the front of this arc, if you enjoyed Lev Grossman's book, Lev Grossman says, M.T. Anderson is one of our greatest and most precious voices. His books aren't just brilliantly witty and vastly entertaining. They're fixed stars of wisdom and sanity in our increasingly unhinged universe.
Oh my God. Sounds so good.
Oh my goodness.
So this was like a genre bender like supreme that I enjoyed this thoroughly. So that's Nicked by M.T. Anderson.
Who's the publisher?
Pantheon.
And Sam at the store loved it too. Sam's name's all over it. Did you tell him about it, Amanda?
No, we just independently read it, and then I found out that he was also enjoying it at the very same time I was reading it.
Yeah. Here's my question. Okay, you said it's 2087?
No, I'm sorry. 1087.
1087. That's what I thought. I was just like,
sorry.
I was like, it's not futuristic.
No.
It's 1087. So that's why I was intrigued about it, because I was just like, I want to go back to that time period.
When you can do it, when an author can really nail the historical dimensions and like also have a propulsive narrative, you're lost, and like you just get sucked in, and then you turn the last page and you're going, oh yeah, yes, like there's a corporeal like, I'm
Right.
here, I forgot, because you just been transported, and that's always great.
Yep. Kim says a comp to Lamb, sign her up. She says that another author she's never heard of, and thanks to Warwick. So thank you.
Yay.
And just on a closing note, not that we want to get political or anything, but Beth Doherty's on here and says, just FYI, we're happy to share our governor with the rest of the U.S.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Beth. I have been enjoying watching him. That is for sure. So
Coach brings a beautiful spirit to the works.
Yep.
So.
All right, everybody. I'm hoping I'll find a prince this week. So I will continue to kiss some frogs, as they say. And,
you will find one. You will find the next one.
I will find one. There's a lot that I've got going on here. So with that, we got some great virtual events this week. Janelle Sazelski, if you're interested, is on Wednesday. Jill, Paul, and Carrie Mayer is on Friday. We had some great events last week. We had Sharks Don't Sink by I think it's Liz. I think it's Liz's title. I can't remember who the publisher is.
She talked about it on Tea
right.
Time.
She talked about it, right?
She talked about it.
Yeah.
She was incredible. And so usually summer events are kind of like, you know, we've had some stellar events, so it's been good. So have fun reading, everybody, and we will see you. Oh, okay, bad news, good news, bad news. Amanda
yeah.
and I are going to be gone for a while.
For a
So we
while.
are actually going to miss, we're gonna miss Labor Day this year because Amanda and I we're both gonna be gone and we cannot do it. And we're actually Amanda's gonna be gone on the 23rd or 20, no, something like that.
Of August.
Yeah. And so I got to figure out
Well,
how to get this out to you guys.
The
Yeah.
earthquake that I felt earlier, I'm feeling it again right now. The tea time earthquake that we
Oh.
witnessed,
Yeah, I may have like created some new fault lines as well.
I know. I just am like, I can't believe that. Yeah. So anyways, but we figure it's Labor Day.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
maybe we can do like a recorded session because I have to miss that too because it's my 40th high school.
There you go. Okay.
Oh.
Oh,
So we'll figure something out, y'all. We'll get you some book recommendations. Stay tuned. And
so
anyways.
the second we will miss, but we'll figure something out for the week before.
Yeah.
Right.
we for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Amanda, I'm noticing that you're trying to put links on Facebook and it's giving you error messages. So there you go, Facebook.
Mercury retrograde.
Mercury retrograde. We're actually having a Mercury retrograde.
Speaking of that,
virtual event. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like, is that next week?
virtual event on August 20th about how to survive and thrive during Mercury retrograde.
Oh, well, that's easy. Stay at home. Don't open the door.
Exactly. Don't get on any technology. All right,
Right.
everybody. Happy reading.
Thanks, everybody.